Now that you've been introduced to the basics of test device files and XJE's functions, it's time to look at how to create your own from scratch. It starts here on the Categorize Devices screen when you categorize the device. The first step is to create a basic file and to use it to complete the categorization of that device. You then need to go to the new file and add information about the pins and insert any XJE's code. XJDeveloper's library comes with files for lots of commonly used devices, so you'll only need to do this if there's nothing suitable. When you want to create one, click Create File to get started. If the project has suitable BOM data, XJDeveloper will pre-fill whatever fields it has information for. It's good practice to make test device files reusable in other projects, so XJTag recommends you use the device's part number for the file name and device name. By doing that, you're making it easy to identify what part the file is for when someone comes to use it later. You've then got some options that can save you time during the file creation process. By default, XJDeveloper will suggest you allow it to use information from the netlist to add bus names to the file. That means you won't have to add the pins to the device yourself. To let names be entered automatically, leave the tick in that box. XJDeveloper will then create names based on what the relevant nets are called. For example, if it has a pin connected to a net called clock, then XJDeveloper will automatically create a single pin bus called clock for the device. If there's a series of nets with a number and the same prefix connected to the device, then XJDeveloper will group the relevant pins together into a single bus. For example, pins named Data 2, Data 1, and Data 0 will be placed into one bus called Data. It'll put the pins in the correct order as well, setting Data 0 as the least significant bit. The names it's given them can be viewed and edited later, so you can always change them afterwards if needed. If your netlist doesn't have meaningful net names for that device, or you only want to define a small number of pins on a large IC, you might prefer XJDeveloper to create an empty file instead. In that case, remove the tick from the checkbox. The final thing to do in this dialog is to decide whether you want XJDeveloper to put some XJE's code into the file for you. That's what these two checkboxes are for. If you tick the top one, XJDeveloper will create a test function template in the file, ready for you to enter your code. It'll save a bit of time later. On the other hand, if you're not going to be putting code into the file, perhaps because the only reason for the test device file is to set a disable value, then leave the checkbox empty. If XJDeveloper thinks what you're categorizing is an I2C device, this bottom checkbox will be available. If you leave the template one blank and tick this box instead, a basic test will automatically be added to the file that checks the device acknowledges its address. You can then supplement that later yourself with additional tests if you wish. With the checkboxes set as you want them, click OK to create the file. You'll then be taken back to the point where you were categorizing the device, and you'll see the new file already selected. There are a couple of things you can do before clicking OK in this dialog. The first is to add a note to the file. That's particularly helpful if the test device file is only used to apply a disable value, in which case it's worth explaining that here. If there's future work to do in the file, for example, to come back and add additional code files, you could use it to jot down a reminder. If you told XJDeveloper to add an XJE's template or I2C function for you, there'll be some extra options you can configure. You'll be able to define a test group to put the test into, and this tick tells XJDeveloper to add the test automatically to the test list. If the basic I2C test was added, the Run by Default option will default to Yes. Otherwise, it will be set to No at the moment, because the file won't have any code. You'll only be able to change it at this point if there's code present. Once you're happy the options have been set as you want them, click OK, confirm you want to add the test to the list if appropriate, and the categorization will be completed. Remember, though, that you've only created a basic file at this point. Setting up disable values or adding XJE's code may still be needed, and even if you allowed XJDeveloper to name the pins for you, you'll want to check what it did. If you're providing the bus information yourself, that still needs doing, of course. Those steps are dealt with in the rest of this series. The next video shows how to provide or check data on the pins, so that's a great place to go next.